was this whole community of fans over there. They had a little fan magazine called The Stomp, and in the back pages of one of the stomps, there was this, "Oh, Kingsley Abbott is going to have a garden party in his house. Any fans want to come by?" And I called him up and he said, "I'm not here from America. Can I come and join in with you?" I said, "Oh, yes, come on out." And I met this network of fans, and they introduced me to people who were serious super fans in the United States. And they were trading bootleg tapes and unreleased stuff back and forth, which was utterly fascinating to me. And I just really got into it. What was interesting was some years later, I was involved musically in some stuff in the Bay Area. And one of these Beach Boy fans heard me singing. I used to be able to do the harmony stacks. And they were doing a Beach Boy fan convention, and the guy asked me to write and record a theme song for a Beach Boy fan convention. So I said, "Oh, no, okay, I'll do it." Sang all the parts. And that track kind of started to get heard. People really liked that song. It ended up on a bootleg CD, and people started to, people from LA and from the Beach Boys world tracked me down and said, "Who are you? How did you end up, making this music?" I said, "Oh, I've been a fan for a long time. I like doing this kind of stuff." And one thing led to another, and I was contacted by a man who was about to, he had the job to make a documentary on the Beach Boys' career. And by this time, I was editing documentary stuff, and he said, "Wow, you should come to LA and edit this Beach Boys documentary that I'm gonna make." So I moved out to LA, and walked into the office of the producer and said, I'm cutting a Beach Boy film," and she said, "Okay, I can't pay you very much." Well, okay. And the film didn't happen. It got stopped for political reasons, as just about everything in the Beach Boys world does. But in the meantime, I was asked to go to Nashville to help direct the film about this country album that they did. I think you saw a piece of that.
Yeah, I showed a bit of it in class the other day.
So about halfway through the production of that process, I was brought on board. I ended up kind of taking it over, doing all the interviews, because I understood the Beach Boys' career. I could talk to them. And the film turned out quite well. And 2 years later, I ended up directing the film about the Beach Boys. Yeah, it was on VH1 and the BBC, and Capitol put it out on the DVD. Produced the soundtrack album that came along with it. It was mainly unreleased stuff. And I found myself in this strange position where every time the Beach Boys management was asked about something in their catalog, I was contacted. And I finally said, "This is ridiculous. Why don't you just let me get involved with you, and I'll create a database and we'll do preservation of all the tapes." And I've been kind of doing that ever since.
Was it surprising to you that the people from Capitol Records, the Beach Boys organization, would be calling you up and asking you questions about the Beach Boys?
Well, here's the interesting thing about it. Capitol Records really didn't figure into a lot of this stuff. I mean, they would be releasing these things, but one thing about the Beach Boys that was very interesting was that unlike any other recording act back in those days, they kept all of their work tapes. The only thing, they had a deep distrust of Capitol. The only thing that they would give them would be the finished masters at the end of the project. The mono, actually, for most of them, they would just give a single mono master for an album, and that was it. They kept the multi-tracks, which turned out to be a really good thing, because back in those days, the record companies would junk all the work tapes. They'd maybe keep the last 3-track masters or the last 8-track masters, but they'd get rid of everything else. The Beach Boys held on to it all, which turned out to be a wonderful thing because it's enabled, the Smile Box and the Pet Sound Sessions and all these archival releases and all these backing tracks and acapella mixes and things were made possible by the fact that the Beach Boys kept it themselves. I'm not even sure if all the Beach Boys at the time were aware of what I was doing as far as the archival work was going, because the manager had a discretionary fund. And the manager at the time recognized that it was important